All right, I am Johnny Ray Youngblood. I am the pastor of the Mount Pisgah Baptist Church, and it is my privilege also to be the pastor to Jeffrey Davis, the deceased brother.
And what was the message that you were hoping this march to present to everybody?
Well, first of all, for a young brother to take up the cause of an older brother like James and Jeffrey, for this to be the 20th anniversary, I think that is utterly magnificent. That his brother's love has been consistent. He has just finished a 10-day vigil there at City Hall where the murder took place. He has put together video depicting the life of his brother, and there are a number of other things. He points out that his brother was also a donor to the I Bank. So the life of James Davis, the legacy of James Davis is, it lives on through his brother. And his brother is trying to teach us how we should treat each other. So I think it is a marvelous example of love between brothers.
And what about your personal message about this violence in our community?
I think that violence, first of all, sometimes is even, it's relative. You know, what some people call violence, for some people, is not necessarily violence per se. Now, of course, murder is violence, but there are other acts of violence, subtle acts of violence. And I think that we have to be very careful about stigmatizing people, because when you say violence, most of the time that tends to be associated with African Americans, and African American males in particular. I firmly believe that that is called violence is the result of something else. And fear and anger are two features, two realities that are never addressed in the lives of black people in this color-conscious culture. We are fearful of things, and of course, we are angry about things. And I mean, especially right now on the heels of the Trayvon Martin case, my big issue is Trayvon was a good kid. He was a good kid. We have kids who definitely engage in activities that parents don't approve of. But when you got a good kid who still gets treated like this, not only in life by way of Zimmerman, but even by the courts, something is wrong. So we are fearful for ourselves, we are fearful of some others, and we are angry because we are also the only community that tends to be bombarded with portable precincts.
Now, it's interesting, you mentioned Trayvon's sentencing and everything, the ruling rather, because there was no sentencing. A lot of people I was interviewing at one of the marches at Union Square that marched all the way up to through Manhattan and up to the Bronx, they were saying, you know, there wouldn't be this much outrage if it was black on black. You know, when there's black on black crime, people will come out into the streets in this number. What do you feel about that?
Well, I feel that there is some validity to that, because there is an understanding that black people that we have of ourselves. We also have other information such as we don't manufacture guns. We don't necessarily manufacture ammunition. There's some things we don't have to do with this stuff, but that stuff is made available to us because we are always some object of study from some other group. And my message to everybody relative to the Trayvon Martin case is that it is apparent that the system is flawed. The system is clearly flawed. And anybody who doesn't realize that and who just opts out by saying that it's still one of the best systems in the world, then what are we to expect in the days to come? What do we who have good children, who do the right things, and there's so many who have been the victims still of this system, you know, and people get away with stuff based on color, they get away with stuff based on who's in position to what, and also money. The system is clearly flawed.
Thank you so much. If people want to learn more about like the James Davis marches or any way to help change this culture that we're currently in right now, what can they do? Where can they go to get more information?
Well, I think that Jeffrey Davis is about to set up a James Davis Foundation. And in setting that foundation up, that will have a lot of information, because Jeffrey is connected in a lot of places where people understand the murder at City Hall.
Great, thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Let's deal with fear and let's deal with anger, and we will better deal with violence. And justice is always the key. Thank you.